What is up, everybody?
Ooh.
I'm feeling very good.
I'm juiced off the iced tea cameo.
I drank the iced tea this morning, and I'm feeling wonderful.
It's coursing through your veins. I mean, honestly, the thing about what I love about iced tea's cameo specifically is the thing about cameo in general. It's sort of a lot of the selection on there. You go through, it's a lot of like reality stars or like Vine stars or whatever they're doing it from like a place of like, I need this. Ice-T is on one of the most successful TV shows of all time, and I think that the only reason why he's on Cameo is just because he is on his phone so much.
And he's a nice guy.
And he's a nice guy, and he tweets constantly, and so he's like, I might as well make some money.
We could easily put a pin on Ice-T because I could do a whole pod on Ice-T and why I like.
Yeah, I mean,
like
we should intro
bring in our guest who we got here from
Tim
Cameo.
Dillon's here.
Yeah, thank you.
Dillon, we paid. Well, how much are we going to pay for this? You
This
were on
is very
Cameo.
little. I'm going to finish the Vietnamese sandwich that you started earlier, but that's my fee. That is my fee. No, I'm not on Cameo. No one would. I would get a few people, but it would be sad. Like I think the interactions would be sad.
Yeah.
And they would be people who I don't believe should get a message from me or anyone else.
Or anyone.
Unless it's a professional.
Yeah.
The people that would message me are people that I would respond with like a help number and go,
Yeah.
no, you need to speak to them.
Yeah.
You
People
don't
who are,
need-
it's like, God hung up a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah. The last thing you need is iced tea. That's not going to help, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I was just thinking about how funny it would be if we booked we had a podcast guest via Cameo where we're paying like $100 per 60 seconds.
Oh, per answer.
We're doing like a 10 grand podcast. It's
Yeah.
just like we're paying 10 grand to get on like Chum Lee from
Yes.
Yeah.
Pawn Stars.
Just
Yes.
take the whole Patreon.
But it's all
and-
it's all like it doesn't really make sense. It's like chopped up a
Yeah.
little too hard.
Yeah, just spend a month's Patreon on one,
Yeah.
on one cameo
Yeah.
guest.
Is that what Chum Lee is going for on
Chum
Cameo?
Lee is going for $65.
$65 to get a shout out from Chum
And
Lee.
look, I should make a note. This is a public episode. Cameo, for those who don't know, this is a website where you could buy video shout-outs from celebrities would be the wrong word. I think
Sometimes there's a couple celebs on there.
couple celebs. You could buy
Ice-T
them
is
from
by
people.
far the best option on Cameo.
This is the better way to phrase it. You could buy video shout-outs from people who believe or consider themselves to be celebrities,
Right,
whether or not
sure.
they are. Ice-T, beyond celebrity. I
Yeah.
consider Ice-T to be an A-lister.
How much money do you have to make on Cameo before it gets sad again? You know? Like, how much do you have to, like, when your accountant
mean? Like,
asks
if
you
you're-
what Cameo, like,
Yeah.
when somebody's doing Ice-T's taxes and his accountant has to sit down with him and goes,
Mm-hmm.
what is Cameo and why are you making $90,000 a
Yeah.
year from Cameo?
This is
I can
the
just
current,
imagine. I wish I could do an Ice-T voice, but I
I'm
can just
s-
imagine.
I'm sorting
you don't have to worry
by-
about that, boss.
I'm sorting by recommended right now. Andy Dick, obviously.
They've been stepping it up.
$9.99. I mean, let's go sort by price high to low. Oh, Caitlyn Jenner for a K.
$1,000 for
Yes.
Caitlyn. Wow.
Caitlyn Jenner
I mean,
for a K.
I don't think the Jenners need more money. So
No.
it's like,
Wesley Snipes 500, Gary Payton 500, Chris Harrison
that's upsetting.
475.
Why does Caitlyn Jenner need $1,000?
Yeah, it's a great point. I think
That is a absolute,
yeah.
not even a blip on the radar of
Yeah.
their.
It's probably
bank
pitched to her as like, this is a great way to interact with your fans,
Yeah.
but fans who are willing to pay you $1,000.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if you want to build a fan base, what's really good is to make
Yeah.
them pay $1,000 to get FaceTime with you.
It's a luxury item.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
oh,
there's-
Drake Bell 200. Emmanuel Shariki, remember her from Entourage? Classic
Oh yeah.
babe.
Oh yeah.
Sean Astin 150.
Okay.
Huh?
Wow.
There's like a couple people we know on here for sure.
Oh,
Nick,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nick Coletti was on there for a long time.
He's still on there for $69.
When he first got on there, I thought about buying one like under a fake name,
Yeah.
just to fuck with him.
Yeah.
Like make him say something really stupid, then just text it back to him.
Dave Foley for a hundo. That feels cheap.
Cameo asked
Riff
me
Raff
to
75.
Cameo asked me to come on and be on the app when it was first started. There's like 10 people on
Yeah.
there, and I was like, dude, that's deep cringe. I'm not gonna do this.
Yeah.
I'm not famous.
Right.
Like anybody that wants a video
Yeah.
shout out, like I don't think it would be weird to charge them money.
They had messaged me a few times, and I'm like, number one, I don't want to be on here and not making like how that's even sadder.
Yeah.
Like to have to lower your price. Like Cameo
You're
emails you.
discounting
They're like,
yourself?
they're like, listen, I know that we said let's start at 50, but maybe let's get people in at like 30.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like that's the worst conversation to have.
Yeah.
And you know they're having it with people. You know they're calling
100%.
people up and they're going like 100 seems a little aggressive.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
can we maybe 60, you know? And
Right.
to me it's like this is
Then you
rough.
at that point you really need to like assess your life.
I'm all about
It's putting you in a position to fail.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mentally.
I'm all about getting rid of dignity, but for a certain amount of money.
Yeah.
You know?
well, that's
I
like
mean,
the thing about like
and also all at once. Like, let me mortgage my
Right.
whole soul all at once.
Yeah.
Like Bob Dylan did a fucking Chrysler commercial, like one time, big money, and then that's
Yeah.
it. That's it. Not
Yeah.
like $30 at a time forever.
yeah.
I judged it very hard. Evan Breen and Nicoletti, who I'm friends with, I was judging them, but then
Yeah.
we were on set. They were both acted in a thing I directed, and I saw them like between takes just being like, oh fuck, I gotta do some of these, and they're both just like Nick was just pulling it up being like, so dude, I'm Nick, like what's up Brandon, like, you know, hey, happy birthday, and then just like they're both like, yeah, I made 10 grand off this last month. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, you know what,
Yeah.
you deserve it.
Is there anything they won't say?
Probably, yeah.
Like,
I
is there
think-
anything
yeah,
they won't
they
say?
like,
Like, can I buy
Yeah.
messages?
for
Oh,
sure.
people
You
can
can turn them down.
People can turn
Yeah.
them down.
Okay.
Like
and they
it's
were
not
doing
like,
that, yeah.
Now the
It's
best
not
thing
like if
is
you paid $25 for like slurs.
Yeah.
No,
They're
I
not
want
like-
that though. I want to
Yeah.
see people that are that desperate where they're like,
Yeah.
all right, hello, I
Yeah.
don't, I just want to shout out to Ralph and. Yeah, it is a European country, you know, now that you
Yeah.
brought it up, and I guess it should stay that way.
Right.
Happy birthday, man, and good luck with everything.
I have a
Just very
confession.
I mean,
uncomfortable.
it's just statistically speaking, their
Yeah.
IQs are lower.
I mean, I don't know what it's going to be like when we're the minority, but you bring up some good points. Anyway, enjoy your birthday. Thanks.
Guys, I have a
Yeah, how
actually,
bad do
you're,
you want these
You're joking about
$25?
this, but I did a thing a few months ago that I don't think panned out. I would have to figure out what email address I used. I should check, but I spent, so basically you pay, you don't have to pay till they do it.
Yeah.
So I put in like, I probably would, if all these got replies, I would have spent like $1,600. But
Yeah.
I was sending scripts to
They
all
don't-
these
yeah,
goofballs.
they don't
trying to
charge
get-
unless-
I was trying to get them
yeah.
to shout out like David Duke.
Oh,
And
great.
like, but I was doing it where I was like giving a setup for it, where it's like David Duke being like a nick, like
Yeah.
like nickname, like, or maybe editing. You know, I was trying to
Yeah.
get them to shout out like Saudi princes.
Yeah.
You know, I was gonna shout out like
Where it
Kim
sneaks
Jong
up on
Un.
you. Yeah,
like
yeah.
Sure.
I was trying, but not. I don't even think I did Kim Jong Un. I was trying to do like dictators that I was betting they didn't know who they were. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
Right.
Oh,
But I
man.
wasn't getting replies. I would like. It
Sort
would
of
definitely
the
be worth.
B-listers.
Yes, but
Yeah.
if I should try to do it again now that I know how it works a
Dictator
little better.
B-listers, not
Yeah,
yeah.
I was really trying to get like the Richard Spencer shout out video.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that's so funny.
from
'cause
like
if
a
you're
Real
on-
Housewife.
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
want to thank Richard Spencer for everything he's done. Happy birthday, Richard.
It would be worth doing one of these. Like I will pull out my credit card and buy one now.
It
Do
would
people
be-
still
You
do
want-
people still
yeah.
have his phone number, by the way?
Richard Spencer?
I'm sure
Yeah.
the man's changed it.
I think he has like a
Do
he has
people
like a
have his number?
703 number that somebody afterward, like somebody at a show in Texas, like was like, oh dude, here's Richard Spencer's number, like if you ever want to like
That's so funny.
whatever you want to do with it.
Yeah, if you ever want to prank call him and then have him stay on the phone for an hour because he doesn't care.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's
That's
that much
the
of a
thing.
loser. Like he doesn't care. Like,
yeah,
he
I feel
can't
like
really...
the like the benefits are not
Right.
outweighed by like
Yeah.
what what
Yeah,
could
now you're just
happen with-
friends with him. Now
Yeah,
you're just
'cause then it's
calling
just
Richard
like-
Spencer.
Yeah, then Richard Spencer will have my phone number.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you will become friends.
This
No. That's not.
this website is so wild though because like
Getting cocktails with Richard Spencer as a bit.
Guys, it's a joke.
No, this is like
I
a
mean,
very
you're like-
elaborate troll.
I'm
people have
ironically-
done like versions of
Yeah.
this.
I'm ironically
Oh,
staying in his
100%.
guest room.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like mean girlsing.
Yeah, I'm
Richard
gonna
Spencer,
date
but I,
Richard
you know.
Spencer as a joke.
You'll be like, I'm such a dick to him. Though. Like, you have
Yeah.
no idea. I'm such a dick to him. It's
Yeah, I mean, we
so
had
bad.
Erin Gloria Ryan was on talking about how she like emails Steve Bannon.
Yeah,
sometimes.
Oh,
as
all
a
the
journalist, though,
As a-
it's like you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
but like she's But she's like more of a comedy writer now.
Now she is, but
Well,
back then she was a
she's-
journalist.
Yeah.
Well,
It
what does
wasn't
she
like a
email him
bit.
for, like, joke? She emails him like a list of jokes, and she's like, "What do you think?"
She's
Why-
still emailing him, yeah.
She's like, "Can I get feedback? I mean, you were in the biz, you know.
Yeah.
Is there any way? Is there any way you can just?
The
I like to
best
spitball with
people
Steve
on
Bannon.
this site are
What are you
so
gonna say?
funny.
You know,
Some of these people, like, we're talking the $10 range, or
Yeah.
even more, when you start to get to these ones where you're like, who the fuck is this?
right?
And then
Yeah.
some people that, like, literally had one video that got 50K views on YouTube or something.
Yeah.
And they're listed on here as called,
Oh,
like,
there's-
The Angry Mom.
Now they're like,
There's
like-
comics we know that are on
oh
there.
yeah, oh yeah. There's
for,
there's
like,
a bunch.
super cheap
Yeah.
and like a lot of times like comics that don't have fans.
Yeah,
Like where
Yeah.
where it's like
who's doing this? Why?
actually
Yeah.
who is this for?
Now the Jake Pauls of the world are way too big for this, right? They're not fucking
I
around.
they
think
would
with
so.
this.
get blown out of. Yeah, and I think
They would make
know
so
their
much
price-
money.
Yeah. Like I feel like if you for a Jake Paul cameo would be expensive.
Crazy. Yeah.
Um
And it would be kids buying it.
Right.
yeah. There were I think he like lived around the corner from I think it's Jake. One of them I think Jake lives like around the corner
Yeah.
from the Improv.
Yeah, one of them lives
And-
by my friend. I stay usually a lot of times. I stay in West Hollywood.
Yeah.
One of them lives around. She lives around the
And
block
like
from the Improv.
their fans just know their address.
Yeah, they like
and,
hang outside their house.
wait
I think.
outside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's crazy. It's just a bunch of preteens walking around, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, it is just pedophile cults everywhere in LA. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, this is
Oh,
amazing.
absolutely.
You just select them. I was
Oh,
like, this
by
is
the way,
crazy.
Jack doesn't know about this, but like, if you want to talk like pedophile cults, Tim's your man.
Yeah, I'm trying to move away from that, and
Okay.
I'm trying to move
Yeah.
away from people coming up to me after a show in Austin and being like, "Hey, do you see the NAMBLA symbol in this pizzeria
Ha.
logo?" I'm like, I don't think so.
yeah.
Honey, I'm listening.
Yeah, we did an episode on my show about human trafficking, and it just stuck. We had a guy on who wrote a book
Yeah.
about it, and it was a documentary on Netflix called "Who Took Johnny," and I'd known nothing about.
Yeah.
I was kind of a conspiracy guy, but I was never like, I didn't know anything about pedophile. I was an actor's little kid, and no one fucked me, and I got nothing, and maybe that's correlated. But I was also good looking. I was like a cute little kid, but
Yeah.
we did this episode,
You're,
and
you're
then
like kind of offended.
I like
I
that.
was kind of like, my parents were also kind of just middle class, didn't know how to market me, you
Yeah.
know, in the right way, because
right.
I was, if I showed you a photo, you'd be like, whoa, like it's
Like, how did nobody fuck you, sweetie?
it's,
Yeah.
it's absurd.
Whoa, this is a fucking
Sweetie,
hot
how were you
kid.
not molested?
Yeah, it's absurd. But yeah, we just did that one episode, and then what happens is you get that group of people that just want to talk about that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like 3 episodes in, we've had like CIA
Yeah.
agents on the show. We've had all kinds of other stuff, and they're like, but
Yeah.
how does it relate to the
And
kids
that's
being
like,
fucked? You're
and
like,
that's
it
what's
doesn't.
like bringing people out to the clubs the most for you, right?
I think
Is-
a
is
lot.
The
The podcast is big. It's
Is
over the
like-
last 6 months. It's gotten a lot bigger, and people come out to. I mean,
And
people,
podcast fans are by far the biggest freaks.
Yeah,
of
I mean,
any of them.
they're involved. They're
Because
they're
you're-
engaged.
yeah.
They're
Yeah.
engaged.
We love
in
our
an-
fans.
Yeah, they're engaged in an unhealthy way.
right.
But I mean, listen, they're also great people, but a lot of them know, like, they'll listen to every podcast I do.
Yeah.
And they'll know, they're like, you said this on this, but then you went on Burkcast and you said that. So
Yeah.
what do you, and I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
sure, yeah.
You're
Yeah.
The
in.
only thing for me is that, like, we just freestyle, and, like, a lot of times we're just talking, so I'll bring up a lot of details from my past, or, like, I've talked about, like, my parents
that
and
you've
stuff.
forgotten that
I
you
forget I say it.
talked
It's like
about.
10
Yeah.
seconds, but then I'll, like, somebody will reference. It's weird when somebody references it to me,
Yeah.
but, like,
Right.
something about, like, my dad or something. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
wait,
We're
what?
talking for
Yeah.
they're
Hold up.
listening to you talk for, and if they're a patron, they're listening to you talk for 2+ hours per week, and so it's just like they're gonna know you better than you know yourself at a certain
Certainly.
point.
It's always fun to bump into somebody who you have no idea who they are, and then they just come up and they start talking about your
They know
dad
stuff,
with
yeah.
Yeah.
authority. You know?
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
have like
it's-
good
it's
insights. You're like,
jarring.
you are right.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's worse
Yeah.
for me too, because, like, I already have, like, I borderline have a thing where I just have trouble recognizing people
Yeah.
at
Right.
all unless I know them really well.
Right.
So I couldn't even imagine how many people I'm re-meeting all the time.
Yeah.
I try to be nice about it, but, like, often I have many, many panic mode moments where somebody's, like, coming up to me like they've met me before, and I know them, and I know that I know
Sure.
them, but I have literally no clue who they
Yeah.
are.
Oh well, that's just a universal shitty thing. Is just like there are so many people in my life, where I just see them around like in comedy a lot.
Yeah.
Where I've seen them too many times to ask their name.
Right.
Where
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, oh, it's too late.
Yeah.
Like I can't. I've seen you around for like more than a year now, and
What I
it's-
just do now, because I don't know who anyone is, and I
Yeah.
should, I just walk around and say congrats to people.
great.
Because here's the reality.
Yeah.
That's a Hollywood power move.
I just go around, I'm like, hey man, congrats. And they just go, thanks. I have no idea what anyone's done.
Yeah.
But usually people have either just done something that's meaningless or are preparing to do something that's meaningless.
Yeah.
So when you see them, it's just great. Like in the back of Good Heroin or everything, I'm just like, hey,
Yeah.
congrats.
Let's say it's
Congrats,
like-
because I don't know their name. So their
Yeah.
name becomes congrats.
You're just going
Yes.
around telling that to people who just had miscarriages.
Yeah, yeah, congrats.
Yeah.
They would love it. They'd be like, thanks so much. It wasn't
Yeah.
the time. It wasn't
Yeah.
really the time. And I'm like,
Yeah.
congrats. Your body knew.
Yeah.
Your body knew.
Um,
Congrats.
I forget even what we were talking about, but the recognition thing, I guess. Yeah, like that's weird. I think. Oh, I had something to say about Cameo. Still, I'm still on Cameo.
Oh,
honestly,
you
I'm
can
still.
stay on it. It's
Yeah,
It is
fascinating.
funny.
yeah.
I mean, like, because you do see a bunch of people on there who, being on there, it's like you see somebody, you're like, oh wait, you think you're famous?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's weird.
Well, I
you
think it's
know?
also just people that are kind of it's not all. Obviously, there's people that are not desperate,
Yeah.
but there's people out there that are just like, hey, if I can make $20
Yeah.
a week on this, like there are people in that
Yeah.
mindset, you know.
Oh yeah, I knew what I was gonna. I was leading into something with the face thing. You know, I mean, we record this from my house. Like,
Sure.
like I don't consider myself famous at all. People might know who I am. Some people
Sure.
listen to this podcast. You know, so it's surprising. I'm putting this out from my own house, so it's weird. Like I don't consider that information's leaving it. Really.
Right, but
you
it
know?
is.
And then it comes
It
back to me
is.
on the streets, which is bizarre.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever
but even
feel
s-
afraid for your physical safety?
Absolutely. You see
When you
that bow, brother? It's tight.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
he's got
look at that.
the bow right
yeah,
there.
Jack's got a real weapons arsenal.
That's so funny. It's like it's a little bow pouch.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
The
quiver.
It's a little mini Rogan
the s-
studio
Yeah,
you
the
got.
sword. Yeah.
Look at that.
Do you
I
have
mean,
a
that's ready to go.
Do you have a Glock?
Actually, I do not have a Glock, but I have in my wallet right there. I'm fully registered.
But you're registered.
I'm
You're
locked
ready
in.
to go.
I need to
You're
go.
registered
Yeah.
for a Glock.
I think that's smart. That's part of the podcast kit starter pack. You're like,
Oh,
listen,
I'm in a cop.
get registered.
Yeah.
I'm getting one.
Yeah.
But it's like
Get
I
a
might have to
gun.
do.
holds up a gun. This is the third mic.
I want to
Yeah.
do a podcast. What should I get? You need to get a gun.
yeah.
Arm yourself.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's
immediately.
that people make earthquake
free
earthquake
speech.
kits. You know.
Today in the studio, a motherfucking gun.
Hell
Right.
yeah, bitch.
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yes.
I was saying that our podcast merch should be like a custom gun. It's like $9,000. But I was actually saying it should be two guns, like dualies, and they're
Yeah.
engraved like
Uh-huh.
across, so that you have to have both guns, or it wouldn't even spell out yet. But still,
Oh,
You start
one
doing,
gun
like-
says yeah, one says but.
You start
Yeah.
doing NRA ad reads
Yeah.
in the middle. You know,
Exactly.
they're like, "Why are we listening to a bunch
Yeah.
of kids anyway?"
That was people got real mad at Killer Mike when he did that. He did that one like NRA interview.
yeah.
And then he was like, "Oh, I didn't know that they were gonna use it for like propaganda." It's like, what? Yeah, you talk to the gun propaganda people.
That's yeah.
Like-
I
Of course they're gonna use it to,
I fully support
their advantage.
I support Killer Mike on his it's bold for him to be like a gun dude, you
Yeah.
know. Which
I-
his opinions are super valid.
Yeah.
But
I liked the
but
show,
and the
by the
NRA is a lobby. Like
Yeah.
you're doing
Yeah.
a video for a lobby.
I feel like sometimes they care more about guns than people. Sometimes I feel that way.
oh, the NRA.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, occasionally.
Every now and then, I'm like, they have a little bit of an agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pro gun.
And
you know?
quite frankly, the NRA, yeah, he has it from like a whole like he wants to arm black people, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
And the
sure.
NRA has a very bad history.
Yeah, they're
dealing
not.
with
They're not into
African-American
that
people.
as much.
In fact, like
yeah.
That would be great if that was their new logo. NRA arming black people. Let's see
the
how many.
the
people's,
NRA
you know.
started around like they changed their tune as soon as the Black Panthers were getting armed.
Yeah.
Which I don't want to get into like we're just talking about like gun policy at this point. But,
Right.
Sure.
Anyway, I am going to buy a podcast Glock.
Yeah.
It'll be right here in case just to remind people what's up. You
Can
know?
we submit pro Second Amendment statements to Cameo so that they can be read by
Yeah.
Dave
Oh,
Foley?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave
My
Foley be-
cameo's gonna be like, the only customer is the NRA. So do not like,
The NRA should start
There's
buying
only lobbyists.
cameos. That's
Yeah.
what they should
They
start
should.
doing.
yeah.
They should just start buying up
Oh, that's
buying
smart.
up cameos. Think about it, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be smart. Come on, don't you want, Caitlyn Jenner and all these
wow,
people?
the entire cast of Vanderpump Rules.
Is really pro-gun. They know their stuff.
Hates gun control.
Vanderpump, the Vanderpump is a pump shotgun. After all this time, you know?
I would love to hear the cast of Vanderpump Rules say the words "well-regulated militia."
Yeah,
that would be. How much would that cost?
Yeah. Well,
what a horrible show and group of restaurants.
I got the license because.
Have you been to both?
I've been to one, and
Which one, sir?
Yeah, and I'm offended by the quality of the food. I love restaurants. I love going out to eat.
Yeah.
But it's
by the way, Sir, for the listeners
Yeah.
at home that don't know, Sir stands for Sexy Unique Restaurant.
right,
Yeah.
and it's not. Here's the thing: it's not unique
not sexy
at
or
all.
unique.
It's
Yeah.
not unique.
Yeah.
and it's not. And the people that eat there are sexy, sure, but I was allowed
Yeah.
in. How sexy is a restaurant if I'm allowed in and I can order what I want and stay there for as long as I want?
They should have like a bouncer.
There should be some policy
be
that
some sort
stops me. And I could bring 5 Long Island goons, net weight 1,800 pounds, and we could sit down there and just scream while food shoots out of our mouth about censorship.
Yeah.
How sexy can it be?
It's
if
one
I
of
can
those
make
restaurants
that
that I don't quite have a name for this yet, but I haven't gone there. I saw pictures though, and there's a type of establishment where it's decorated with things that belong in a home.
Yes.
Does that make
Yes,
sense?
absolutely.
Where you're seeing the decorations,
Yes.
and even it comes down to the hardware. Have you ever been to a place of business, like a salon or something, and you see a home door, like a door is the same that you would have on like a bedroom door.
Right.
It's very subtle, but it's like, oh, that's not an industrial door.
Right.
That's a home door handle. It's very weird.
It also feels to me like if you've ever watched QVC late at night. My
Yes.
mother's a schizophrenic, so I used to grow up with that. And after midnight on QVC, they take the gloves off. They really start advertising because they know who their people are.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like they'll bring out these crazy jewelry thing, and it feels like those are the people who decorated the restaurant, like just rich women that are bored.
You're
that
seeing
are
stuff
like,
from Home
I have a
Goods.
jewelry line, you
Yeah.
know, and it's like you don't, but okay, and they just buy jewelry and then just sell it, and and it's
well,
always weirdly Native American and clearly like
you're linking a lot of subjects right now today too, because that type of store, I call that the almost divorce boutique.
Yeah, well, that's
so.
it.
This is a type of store that exists. You'll see it. You see like a boutique that's selling like weird clothes that like your grandma wears, like kind of like sort of like Chico's brand. But it's like a boutique. And you're like, nobody's ever in there. This is super weird. The rent here has to be $6,000 a month in the strip mall.
Yeah.
Those get started because like it's some Florida millionaire dude that like cheats on his wife and crashes the Jaguar, and like that's how they stay married. He's like, all right, you could finally start that store you've always wanted.
Why don't you go? You're a designer, honey. You've got a great eye. Well, the other thing now is a lot of these people are like, you've got a great eye. Like they don't even pretend to be designers anymore. They're like, I just have a great eye, and they're like, I just know how to pair things.
Yeah.
And like I just know, and that's what Lisa Vanderpump is. She's a rich person who has capital. Any of us can have here's the thing.
Yeah.
Any of us can have a restaurant. That's the thing. Like literally any of us. If you backed me with $100 million, I could have a great it's not hard.
Yeah.
You just hire a good chef.
Yeah.
So in the new season of Vanderpump Rules, Jax and Brittany, they start like a beer cheese business.
Ooh.
Right? And at one point they show this on screen. Jax Googles how to sell food.
Yeah, sure. Right.
It's literally like
great.
he literally gets on google.com and is like, how to sell food.
Yeah. He's like, I know how to fuck rich women. I know how to do coke. I know how to get in reality shows.
It's all I mean, the like they're responsible for like half the coke consumption.
I'm sure.
LA.
Yeah. They're just like they're the cartel knows
and
who they are.
The food at that restaurant is like, it's supposed to be this high-end restaurant. Their food is like fried calamari with chili sauce.
Sure.
So I'm like,
and it's not the cocktails are bad.
Ugh.
No, this is another genre of place that I went to one the other night, which I was posting it all over my Instagram story. I went to go see Frank Stallone.
Okay.
Sylvester Stallone.
Fuck yes. I
less
saw
successful brother.
Yeah,
performing at like Herb Albert's restaurant that I didn't know about.
I've always wanted to see Spacey's brother. He's a Rod Stewart impersonator.
Oh my God.
Kevin Spacey's brother. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, their dad was a neo-Nazi pedophile, so that's what you become. You become very successful, Kevin, or a Rod Stewart impersonator.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wowzer.
I mean,
But the food, it was hard to describe because the menu is what you're describing.
Yeah.
They have like, I call them they're all like fusion restaurants.
Yeah.
You know, they
Yeah.
have like weird expressionist art on the wall where it's kind of just like colors, and, like,
Right.
splashes.
There's
Yeah.
some version
Vibes.
of a tuna tartare. There's a.
I was about to say
there's-
tuna tartare.
There's
That's
always
what we
a
got.
truffle oil.
Yes.
There's truffle oil.
You're literally
Yeah.
listing
I
what we
know,
bought.
I know.
I mean,
you are
bro,
listing
like-
the
I
order.
know.
Yeah,
Listen,
Tim
I know.
Tim's a
I'm a
foodie.
yeah,
You
I'm
are
like-
listing the menu.
I'm really just trying to make enough money in comedy to open my own sexy, unique restaurant.
Yes.
Nothing
That's
was
all I want.
no, it was the exact type of restaurant that Gordon Ramsay would come in and be
Sure.
so mad off of like things that you quite don't really understand as a viewer. He's like super mad at like
Yeah,
the
the-
way a potato is
The
cooked.
furniture is kind of
Yeah.
like outdoor furniture. It's
Yeah.
like outdoor, indoor. You're like, is this patio furniture? Am I eating on patio furniture?
Yeah,
it's
like-
very strange.
I love
It's odd.
all the Gordon Ramsay shows are great, but it's like the food at this place was like it's expensive and not it just like
It's not good.
not
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
And it's like it's the fights you see on his shows of like Kitchen Nightmares or whatever, where he's like having that one-on-one back room fight with the
Yeah.
chef.
Yeah.
And they're fighting about something you don't really understand, like how could you cook a leek like this? Like you know,
Right.
like
And there's always like a
you just
dish or
don't
two
know
that's
how to
in-
cook a leek, but
there's
like
a
you
dish or
know there's
two
something wrong.
That's
Yeah.
Instagrammable. They always
Yeah.
have an Instagrammable thing, whether it's a drink or and that because that's
Yeah.
like in New York City there was this restaurant called Black Tap was failing. They brought in like this marketing firm and they're like, just start making milkshakes and putting like cake on top of them. Just make these really
Right.
tall skyscraper milkshakes. And that saved Black Tap, and now they have multiple locations. But
Oh,
literally,
really?
that's
Wow.
what a lot of restaurants are doing now. They're like, we need one Instagrammable dish that'll get
Yeah.
people in the door. So,
Right.
I mean, that's a huge strategy right
This
now.
food was brutal. I had this
Yeah.
like a burger. I got the burger because I was like,
Special
they can't
blend.
mess,
They're like, it's a special blend.
they
It
can't
has-
mess it
yeah.
up, right? Like I was
Yeah.
thinking they couldn't mess up a burger.
Oh, they can.
Yeah.
You just want to guess what's on the burger? It's their house burger.
I don't know.
I'm
Some
bet you verbatim named our order.
pickles from something that they, well, New York, it would be like pickles from somebody's, it would be like a marmalade or an onion jam or something like that, or some type of cheese, aged cheddar-y thing.
You're naming a certain type of burger. This was a different route. So it
Okay.
was like a brie cheese.
By the way,
Oh, okay. This is the
anytime
version.
anytime I'm on the road and like post what city I'm in, Tim will like
I always
come
give
through
him,
with the
yeah,
restaurant
I always
recs,
give him a
and
recommendation.
he always kills it.
They're
I need to
always
get on that
good.
list.
Yeah.
They're always
But yeah,
good
it was like
recommendations.
it just
brie
did-
cheese and like pear or
it
something
didn't taste
stupid.
like the dominant taste wasn't even meat. It was
Yeah.
like something else, but it was like bland.
Yeah.
The bun was like half toasted, but it was like I swear the bread was like not meant to be a hamburger bun. It was like tasted different.
Was it where the servers are also kind of, they're not rude, but they're cold?
They were fine.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
just like
Is it like
everything
a
was
brioche
bizarre.
bun that's like a little too big?
This one was like just a little too soft. You know those white Asian buns where you get like the bao sandwiches or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, like a Hawaiian bun.
I felt
type
like
of-
I felt like that was the
other-
base.
okay.
And it was falling apart, and then like at a certain point, I noticed there's like a second meat on top of the burger, like some kind of like shredded.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is not mixing well.
We had the same type of like in New York for a while. This was about like 3 or 4 years ago. Every restaurant was in like a warehouse, and it was all like picnic tables, and they had 7 things. It was always like sriracha, mac and cheese, pork belly, truffled hand sanitizer. I mean, everything was disgusting. And they would have like some bastardized version of fried chicken, which
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
like one of these cultural appropriation people.
Yeah.
But there was something weird about a 19-year-old white chick telling you about fried
Oh,
yeah.
chicken.
There's
you know
so
what I
many
mean?
like
Something
bastardized
odd.
like chicken and waffles.
Oh yeah,
Honey,
oh, yeah.
dishes at
honey,
these-
I could
these
hop
at
off
these
right
places.
now.
Yeah.
I know we make fun of ourselves for talking about local food,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
I
but
could
this is-
pop off,
yeah.
sweetie, on this subject. LA has
Go
some
off.
fucked up chicken places.
Yeah.
Yes.
So obviously, LA has a history of chicken and waffles, but
Yes.
there's like hot chicken became popular here
Oh,
recently.
yeah.
And there's like these hype beast like hot chicken places. Like right down the street from my house is this place called Howlin' Ray's. Have you heard of that?
I haven't
There's
been.
a 3-hour line
Yeah.
Yeah.
outside of it every single day.
And it's in Nashville.
Every single day,
yeah.
nonstop. And I
Yeah.
watch these freaks wait in line
Yeah.
for 3 hours. And
Yeah,
I like
strange.
I ask myself every day, like, why? Who
Yeah.
are these people? What are they doing? And also like it's chicken, right? So
Yeah.
you know, I've had really good fried chicken,
It's chicken.
but it's like you can't take it to the 3-hour level.
No.
Like it's not
Sure.
possible to do.
no.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
quite frankly, I think that's like this is a working class style of food. I don't
Yeah.
think it should be a 3-hour wait.
Well, that's
Yeah.
why the best
I,
restaurants, I think, are authentic to the food they serve. Like Jitlada is a great restaurant because when you walk in, it's like a dirty carpet. It's a Thai restaurant, but it kind of smells like you're like, oh,
Yeah.
this would be a restaurant in Thailand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and not a wealthy part. Like this
Yeah.
would be a restaurant that somebody's opening. Like it would be like a brothel and this restaurant. It would be
Yeah.
like 5 tables in someone's living
Yeah.
room, and they'd also be selling their children, you know?
Yeah.
And you'd be like, well, this is the authenticity I want, you know? I don't want to eat that Thai food in a
Yeah,
sexy, unique
no.
restaurant, you know?
My favorite trope of the gentrified food places, I've seen this like 4 times. It'll be like usually like a barbecue place, or it could be like a white people owned taco place or something,
Right.
you know,
Sure.
where they're claiming to be authentic.
Yeah.
They have like a little plaque or something. Maybe it's even on the menu where it's like their origin story.
Right.
And it's like, it's always some version of this. It's like 2 friends or a husband and wife, like they used to work doing blank. They quit their
Right.
jobs to pursue their obsession of barbecue. And then they always do this thing where they like, this
Yeah.
is how they paint it. They say they went on like this tour where they, went, if it was barbecue, they went to like Texas in the South,
Yeah.
Kansas City
Yeah.
to try like all the best barbecues and like master it and meet the chefs or whatever. But when you're like reading it and reading between the lines, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, what you guys did is you went and met all of these like tiny restaurant owners and,
And
stole
their
everything, yeah.
recipes.
And I
Yeah.
love when those
Like
stories
you
are really
stole what
gross.
they do.
They're like, you know, Tiffany and John met. Well, they were both working in the world of high finance, but that
Yeah.
didn't suit either of them.
Right.
So one night they went down to Tijuana to get real fucked up.
Yeah.
And they realized that you know what people
Yeah.
like when they're fucked up? Tacos.
Yeah.
So they met an old woman who made this
Yeah.
special kind of sauce, killed her,
Yeah.
took that recipe, and now they've got 17 chains in and around San Diego.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they
exactly.
They
like-
of them with this corpse of a woman. They
Yeah.
stole everything.
Yeah, they like secured the Goldman Sachs bag.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
then they were like, well, yeah, white people love ethnic.
Yeah.
yeah.
White people
We
love
are
ethnic
getting
food.
bored at our job inventing a new Agent Orange.
Yeah.
We decided to do a bunch of cocaine in
Yeah.
Tijuana.
Yeah, there's nothing better than spicy food and not living near the people that make it. So
Yeah.
that's what our chain is about.
Once they got rich, they were like, we're going ethnic mode.
yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, that reminds me of like Clara Jeffries. Is that her name?
No.
Yeah. Well,
Who's that?
she's like an editor at Mother Jones or something.
Yeah.
She was popping off on Twitter about like Tex-Mex
Yes.
and doing this weird routine where like
Seems like a
Talk-
great comedy fan.
No,
Should
yeah,
that's
she was
what I
like-
want.
yeah.
My
Yeah.
show, I
Like-
like to have as many editors from Mother Jones as possible.
Yeah, did she do a thread about Tex-Mex?
she was doing a thread about Tex-Mex and like
Twitter
talking about like
fucking
authenticity,
sucks.
and everybody was responding to
Yeah.
her like, because I mean Tex-Mex is like. She was like talking about it as like a white people thing. She was doing
Right.
like the
Yeah.
damn white people be tripping though, like you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like and she was literally using like gifs of black people in the replies talking about white people,
That's
which is
smart.
the whitest woman
That's
I've
a
ever seen in my
smart-
life.
That's a
That's
smart
cool.
way to handle it.
Yeah, but that's another type of like.
And I'm
white-
not like again. I don't think anybody should ever be prevented from opening or anything. Like Portland, there's these white people making tacos, and Portland like
Yeah.
kicked them out. I think that's all absurd. But these are just these are funny things to make fun of. Like
No,
they
yeah, and,
are
like-
funny and ridiculous things. You know,
And like Tex-Mex, like those border towns in Texas, like
Yeah.
it's a type of food. It's white people
Yeah.
and Mexican people. Like
it's the same thing when I see a really hot
Eating
girl on Instagram with like a gooey cheeseburger. I'm like, you don't eat this.
Yeah.
And now you're just selling the sex appeal of like you, and here's the food porn, but it's
Yeah.
like you're not eating this.
Yeah.
You're not eating this. You know,
Right.
I know, because I go to the places where they sell those things. You're never there.
Yeah.
oh, that's
I never bump
that's
into you.
that's big boy
I've
stolen
never bumped
valor.
into you.
Yeah.
That's big boy season stolen valor. If you're
Right.
doing that with the burger, no,
Yeah.
it's like you're not eating that whole thing.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know where these hot chicks are at these all-night Philly cheesesteak restaurants.
Yeah.
But I don't see. I
You're
see
not
a lot
putting
of
in the work.
I see a lot of women that I like, formidable, severe women.
Formidable,
you know?
severe.
Those-
women.
You know what I mean? Serious ladies. But
Funniest way to describe somebody
yeah,
severe.
I have. That's a joke in my act. I say I need a severe woman.
Oh my god.
if I
I
were
won't.
to go
I won't
straight.
steal it. I
Yeah,
won't
that's
steal
you
it.
can have it. Please take it. Do something with it.
Yeah, I'll open up a.
Yeah,
I'll do the restaurant thing.
do it. I would.
No,
love
I
it.
went around and met all the comedians and learned the craft.
Yeah.
You know, I learned.
Oh, right.
I immersed myself
Yeah.
for 2 years.
Yes.
Around the best local
Yeah.
comedy.
Right.
Yeah.
You hung out in the satellite green room for a
Yeah.
while, and now
Yeah.
you're finally ready to venture into stand-up comedy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my entrepreneurship.
Yeah, and then you're just going up like, guys, I look like what a Japanese businessman
Yeah.
jerks off to.
Jack realized he had a real taste for Tinder jokes and wanted to appreciate them. So he took a 2-year tour around Echo Park, and now he's ready to go national with everything he's learned. You know?
Yeah, I'm just doing like everybody
Yeah.
else's jokes.
You're doing like
You know when a
very
guy's going
specific
down on
material
you and he's
about,
playing with
like,
your
yeah.
pussy and doesn't really know what, like.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh.
But anyway, the food at the restaurant was bad. Was the moral of that
Yeah.
story?
At the Frank Stallone show.
Yeah, it was definitely
How
Herb
was
Alpert's.
the show?
Honestly, fine. Like
Okay.
we went in, we went in there
Yeah.
ready to see some weird shit.
Yeah.
Because it's Frank Stallone. I used to follow his Instagram a lot. He was always just dropping gems. Like he would do like a post of like his wallet that's just like a rubber banded wad of bills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'd be like really Italians, no matter how much success you get, but like, you know, talking about how successful he is and he still carries around the rubber band, but it's just $36.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
So-
less than an hour of parking in whatever
Yeah.
city he's in.
Yeah.
It's but it was like, I mean, he put on a good show.
Yeah.
It's like there wasn't really much to laugh at. We met him. He's a super nice guy.
I saw his dad. I saw Creed 2 last night because my friend said to me, she's like, my husband is going out with his girlfriend. It's LA. She goes, my husband's going out. This is her husband. She goes,
She was like, my husband's going
Oh
out
yeah,
with
she goes,
his
my husband's going out with
girlfriend?"
his girlfriend tonight for Valentine's Day.
Oh
She's
my God.
She's in New York with her boyfriend, and she goes, could you babysit our son Leo tonight for Valentine's Day? He's like this 12-year-old kid, and he wanted to watch Creed 2, and she's like, I'll give you a few $100, take him out for sushi. So I took him out for sushi. Now it's me and a 12-year-old boy.
Yes.
In a sushi restaurant with all couples on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
No one in LA thinks that's weird.
Oh my God.
I swear to God,
Yeah.
a waitress comes up and she goes, are you doing the Valentine's Day? I mean, I'm
No.
like, whoa. I'm like, no, we're not.
No.
I'm babysitting.
Does he want anything to drink?
yeah.
Cocktail?
She's like, you
Oh,
know,
man.
so it was just so funny. I was like, this is,
Yeah. Do you want me to take you to the champagne room?
yeah, they're like, this is
Yeah.
great. You know, you guys doing the Valentine's Day dinner? I'm like, no.
Oh my God.
This is a child. We're eating sushi, and then he's going to watch Creed 2 and lie to me that he doesn't have fucking homework. But this is, you know, LA, baby.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
mean, I was on DoorDash last. I was on DoorDash on Valentine's Day. Just you know, I went like Guylentines mode. Hung
Yeah.
out with my boy, and I was on DoorDash, and I saw that like Chuck E. Cheese delivers, which
Yeah.
is insane. Like
Sure.
it's
so
like
funny.
so crazy, but it was like Chuck E. Cheese free delivery. And I was like thinking about Bryan Singer, just like going through like, damn, can I order off menu?
Yeah. Yeah, can I? Yeah, it's just a very long, you know, that box where it's like, do you want any
The
alterations? It's
special instructions, just like
Yeah.
like drive a kid,
Yeah.
drive a kid over here.
just do you know
Just
anyone who
like-
wants to be an actor and maybe is promising? You
Yeah,
know?
scoop up some up and comers.
Yeah. What are you looking for? Mentorship. That's what I'm
No
trying
older
to-
than
Yeah.
14.
Scoop
That's
up,
amazing,
yeah.
man.
Scoop up some up and coming actors
Yeah.
and hit the salad bar.
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
quick. He's still
So
he's
a
still
vi-
hungry.
Yeah.
Oh,
a
yeah.
vinaigrette,
He's
you know.
starving.
Oh, he's real
a hungry wolf.
Singer is a starving man.
Yeah.
Let me
His career's great.
let me ask you this as a hypothetical.
Yeah.
Okay. We got 2 planes in the sky. You got
Yeah.
Singer's jet.
Yeah.
You got Epstein's jet.
Oh.
You're on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a ground-to-air missile. You have one in the
Interesting.
chamber. Which plane you going for?
Can I just
Epstein's more powerful.
Can I just blow up a random Southwest flight? Because I hate Southwest.
Oh, man.
I really don't like, you know?
Okay,
Yeah.
wait. Can I
Assigned
instead of that?
seats.
So instead of taking out the child molesters, could I just do terrorism instead?
I would do Epstein because I'm like Bryan Singer. I mean, I like the Usual Suspects. You know, like
Yeah.
Epstein is.
Epstein has more powerful people on that jet.
Epstein's got more powerful people on the jet.
Yeah.
100%.
What's crazy is that Bryan Singer was the usual suspect the whole time.
I know.
Yeah.
He was. Well, all these guys, like when you look back at their movies and stuff, you're like, oh, okay. Like It's like you'll probably see a few things. You're like, okay. And these guys were above the law forever and probably
What's
still
crazy
are.
is that like him and Spacey walking. They're dapping each other up,
Dude,
Yeah.
those two, the things that those two
How do you think they met?
probably would have done is crazy.
Kind of the Jordan and Pippen of pedophilia.
Oh yeah, just fucking just killing it
Just
every night on the court.
throwing layups.
Yeah, giving the
Like-
community something to believe in.
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Very inspirational
Oh,
to the
sure.
community.
If you're a poor pedophile, and I imagine they're out there.
yeah.
If you are a pedophile and you're frying Nashville hot chicken,
Yes.
you are like, whoa, Spacey and fucking Singer are. They're your gods. I mean, they're your UCB, Amy Poehler.
Yeah.
That's
story.
Drake and Future
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive.
You're like, oh wow, so I get a mansion, and I have a pool,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
just fill pools with.
They come to me.
Oh, I don't kidnap them. They come in willingly.
Yeah.
And if they say anything, we just sue them. Interesting. Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is crazy.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh my God. So, I mean, I'm piped up for this now.
Yeah.
Let's circle back. What juice did you have with what's your pedophile connection?
Well, I mean,
so tell us about the pedophiles.
yeah. Well, no, I mean the show that we covered on my on the podcast was that there was it was actually a credit union in Omaha, Nebraska that was being run by this guy named Lawrence E. King, who was a rising star in the Republican Party. He sang the national anthem at the 1984 Republican National Convention.
Yeah.
He had taken photos with Maureen Reagan and all that stuff. He was running. He had been convicted of embezzlement. He had embezzled like $40 million from this credit union, which was like a failing Nebraska credit union. So a lot of when people started to look into that, a lot of like state senators and people around Nebraska were like, the real story is actually that he was making all of this money because he was running an interstate pedophile network and pandering
my
children
God.
to some of the wealthiest people in Washington, D.C., places like New York, I'm sure out here. And there was this guy that wrote like a 7-year book. He investigated this for 7 years, and it was like,
Yeah.
and it's not a conspiracy like Pizzagate, which is fake. Pizzagate's not real. There are no victims. There's nothing. I mean, it's literally just here's a weird Instagram post, and they are weird. But I mean, and listen, if there is validity to it, I'm like one of those guys where it's like, you got to show me. This guy has flight manifests in his book that show this guy Lawrence E. King flying back and forth to D.C. from Nebraska with 7 or 8 unidentified minors. So if you could tell me why that's fucking happening, you know, and that sometimes he'd leave with like less than he came with, where he's selling the kids.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff was for blackmail. It was for like, you know, if you catch a congressman or a senator, if you like the house in Washington D.C. where a lot of these orgies and parties would happen was outfitted for blackmail with cameras and all kinds of. So if you catch a congressman or a senator in that compromised position, you own them forever. So whether it's the CIA or whether it's, you know, huge corporate interests, who's ever, you know, and I'm sure it's a lot of both. There's a ton of overlap there, but who's ever getting that info, you now own somebody forever. A lot of these people are owned. I mean, there's discussions like, is Trump being blackmailed? Is Lindsey Graham being black? Like, all, you know, a lot of these people come in office and they have all these ideas, and then a lot of them reverse themselves almost immediately. And you're like, well, and then things come out about them later on. And it's like, so that was a real, and there was this guy, Craig Spence, and he was like this guy that was peddling. He was like the dude that was peddling these kids. So it was really sick shit. And you're like, oh, but you're also like, oh, it's been going on forever. It's been going on since like biblical times.
You know, I started stand up in DC.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I performed. You know, I was a teenager when I started, and
you're a teenager now. You know, like you're
I started when I was like 17, and let me just say, I performed at a lot of house shows.
Yeah.
In DC.
There's a
Performed at
weird
lot
energy.
Of,
There's a dark energy to DC. Some of the
no,
wealthier
it's
areas.
I'm from like maybe is LA the. I feel like I'm from DC, live in LA, so I'm like from like the biggest pedophile city,
Sure,
to the like second biggest pedophile city.
And I don't know why rich people.
What's the Dan Nanan version of that joke then for you?
Oh,
I was born in DC.
I was born in DC and I live in LA, so I get molested at.
Yeah.
Still, wait, where is it instead of at fucking?
So
let's
was it,
workshop
I get my
this.
sushi at 7-Eleven or something like that?
Yeah. He says I'm
Yeah.
half Indian and I'm half. What does he say? I'm half Indian and I'm half Japanese, so I get my sushi at 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So what?
God.
Bad. He's bad at comedy, whatever. But What's this angle? What are you thinking?
I would
Maybe
blow
it's
up
maybe
Dan
it's just
Nanon's
a
plane.
maybe it's just an
Let's-
anti-comedy joke. Be like, so I grew up in D.C. Now I'm here in L.A. So I've been molested a lot.
yeah,
Maybe that's the joke.
yeah.
So let me tell you, honey. Our podcast, I guess in an official capacity, are Pizzagate truthers.
Yeah.
But it is a joke.
Well,
I'd say it's a joke. Like,
leftist
yeah, we'll break character and
leftists who support Pizzagate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
not
I would
support
say,
Pizzagate,
yeah,
but, like,
in
the
all
thing with Pizzagate
seriousness,
is number one. Common pizzas is not good. The food's not good.
It's not.
I don't think there was a child pedophile ring at
no,
Common
and then
Pizza.
also the people that you end up talking. It's the same like QAnon retards.
Well, there's no
Yeah.
basement, right?
Yeah,
no,
it's
there's
like
no
guys.
basement in the Alamo.
Let's say they are
Yeah.
fucking kids. They isn't there a better way to do it than tunnels
Yeah.
under a
Right.
pizzeria?
Yeah.
Like that's like a retarded like that's like if I was a pedophile, that's what I would have. Like I
Yeah,
got
like,
a fried
I
chicken
think
restaurant
that, like,
with
yeah.
tunnels.
I do think politicians are. Well, we've talked about this like 2 weeks in a row. But like when Sarah and
Yeah.
Sandy were on, we were talking about how like that's kind of the one nonpartisan, bipartisan thing.
Yeah,
is
they all
fucking
fucking
kids.
listen. A lot of them fucking,
Yeah.
and that's the problem. Pizzagate
They're just
is
not
like,
doing it
political.
at Comet.
No, they're not doing it at Comet Pizza, and
Yeah.
like it's also like it's one of those
There's
situations.
better pizza in DC.
There's better pizza in DC, and it's one of those situations where nobody's done any homework, so people are just ready to go on Reddit and 4chan and just start. But nobody's read a book. Nobody knows anything. Nobody has a fucking idea.
Everybody loves
Yeah.
popping off.
People just love throwing it out there. Now like you're like guys like Owen Benjamin, who's this guy. He's like calling everyone a
yeah.
pedophile. Like everyone's a pedophile. You made a
Owen
joke.
Benjamin fucking lost his goddamn mind.
Yeah.
That's so on the Chapo FYM Twitch, which I'd say I'm an unofficial team member of the Chapo Fortnite team.
Yeah.
Our insult is pedophiles. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Anybody who's
Yeah.
playing video games after a certain time is a pedophile. So if we kill them in game,
Yeah.
we're helping keep them off the streets and we're distracting them.
Y'all the real
Right.
pedophiles.
Yeah.
Also, the newest is register sex offender. Is the new
Oh,
call out
yeah.
for enemies.
Oh,
but
interesting.
our good
glad
friend
it's-
Eminem Obama is like a main proponent. He says that like pedophile is the closest to the N word that you could call a white guy. Like in terms of invoking rage.
Yeah.
Like if you call a
Yeah.
white dude a pedophile, because you can't really call a white dude anything that would make him mad.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing. Like you can't.
Right.
White guys don't get mad at cracker and stuff
There's
like that.
No.
none of
Yeah.
the
Pedophile.
like.
It
Yeah,
is
that'll
like it's
do
a
it.
perfect insult.
Yeah.
But the problem with the insult is that you could get sued for it. Like Elon,
Sure.
Elon Musk
It
is
is
currently getting
technically
sued
slander. Yeah.
for calling somebody. Yeah, because
Sure.
it's an actual
Yeah,
accusation.
the people that
Yeah.
like people that rescued the Chilean.
Yeah, I mean that's wild.
Yeah.
Like you
Right?
literally.
And he was
I would
like-
love to implement the word pedophile more as
But
an
the
insult.
scary thing is, it's like you have all these successful rich people that are pedophiles, and it's like, is this the only thing that's ever been pushing civilization forward? Like, is this
Pedophilia.
the only?
Yeah.
Is this literally it? Is this the only reason
People are just
anyone does
getting into
anything?
power, yeah.
Jesus, you know.
That's literally the reason we left hunting and gathering.
Yeah, I'm like, this is fucking crazy. But it's like, it's sad. It's sad for the kids that are,
Of
abused.
course.
It's fucking.
It's bad. And yeah, I
Horrible.
mean, well, that's all. Most
know?
abusers were abused.
Yeah, it's like a very they translate.
Yeah, like surviving R. Kelly. He was molested
Right.
a ton when he was a kid.
Yeah. I love that. Did you see that thing where Erykah Badu was like, "We gotta love R. Kelly," and the whole crowd's like, "What?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was amazing. She's like, "We gotta love him," and they're like, "Wait, whoa,
Wait, huh?
Pause.
There's nothing better than in real time when someone decides to go out, like to take a
Yeah.
stand like that,
And
people
there's
like,
nobody. Yeah, they're acting on their own accord, and there's
Oh,
nobody.
yeah.
There's nobody in the room to like stop it.
Yeah,
The words have already come out of her mouth.
Yeah, that one hurts.
yeah.
That one hurts.
We gotta love him.
That's crazy though. I need to
Yeah.
listen to that episode.
It's a good episode, and it's opens up that door to this dark reality. But it's like not, you think about the Catholic Church, you think about Penn State. It's like this is not really. Sadly, it's not like it's not a conspiracy, or it's not like a thing that like only goes on with uber wealthy politicians. It's like in any power structure, you have predators, whether they're preying on women or preying on children, and they have the ability to kind of manipulate
Or other
Yeah.
men.
yeah, or other
Yeah.
men, 100%, and like so you just have that happen, and it's fucking very, very sad, and hopefully we're getting into a world now where that's harder to do. With kids, sadly for kids, there's no kids Me Too.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's the tragedy.
Me too for kids.
They need a Me Too for kids.
I mean,
they really do.
it would just be me like limited to.
They need like a
too.
kids bop.
Yeah.
Kids bop Me Too.
Yeah. Me Too for kids with a Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's-
but like, yeah, we joke, but like,
Fucking
it is
blue
fucked 'cause
raspberry
it's, like,
Me
they
Too.
are- a lot
Yeah,
of them
yeah.
don't. It's
Yeah.
fucked. I
Yeah.
mean,
It's fucked.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now my life not getting fucked and starting comedy at 25, and like that ain't great either. So
yeah.
there's no winners.
There's
you
not
know?
a lot of good.
If you're a
there's-
child and you're an
yeah.
actor and you don't
Yeah.
become immediately successful,
Yeah.
nothing good's coming. So whether it's rape or
Yeah.
what you're in, or whatever it is, it's not good. So-
Once again, I am a proponent of just making child acting illegal.
I agree. I think
Yeah.
you can do it. You
Yeah.
can play the kid.
Just
We
let-
don't need
yeah.
kids. Like everyone in Beverly Hills in 90210 was like in their mid 40s. So
Right.
let's do that.
Yeah.
I'm for that.
Yeah.
That's what we don't need children acting.
Or what about the director has to be a kid? An all
Yeah.
Oh,
kid
if
set.
it's, yeah.
Great.
just
That's
child
an
labor laws.
Well,
interesting-
that's yeah. They're bringing back all that.
Oh wow.
The children's sketch comedy show.
yeah.
Nickelodeon.
Wow.
Hopefully no Dan Schneider.
Absolutely not.
But I knew like some comic I know was like, yeah, I'm gonna be in LA for the next couple months writing for all that. And I was like, shouldn't they let kids write it? Like,
I had
shouldn't they
a-
let kids
Yeah.
fucking write a sketch show?
I
no,
had
because
a
then all the
kids-
sketches would just be like poop.
yeah.
yeah,
It would work though.
it would work. Kids would love it.
Yeah.
Just like a
For kids, by
stand-up
kids.
comic on stage just being like barf,
Yeah.
Yeah.
poopy pee.
I had a general meeting at Nickelodeon once, and it was just these fat guys eating donuts, and it's like this
Oh.
really creepy world.
Oh,
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is exactly what Alex Jones thinks it is.
Why were you at a meeting for Nickelodeon?
Because they just send me on, and by the way, they were confused. Like when I walked in, they're like, "You're another pedophile executive, right?" I'm like, "Oh no, I'm here to just,"
Yeah.
because it was voice stuff.
Oh, you're here for
Yeah.
a pickup?
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
like, it was like voice stuff, and they said to me, they're like, "If we can," I swear to God, they go, "This is literally what they said." They go, "If we have a thing coming out with a rat." If we cannot afford to get Danny DeVito to play the voice of the rat, we like you for the voice of the rat. So I was thrilled. I mean, I called my agent.
Amazing.
I'm like, I mean, maybe DeVito's
Yeah.
gonna pass. You know,
Have you done voiceover stuff before?
not a ton, but I don't.
It's so fun.
I should, and I don't submit. Like I get like sometimes
Yeah.
like they'll send me a thing and they'll be like 15-year-old Latino, and I'm like, okay, I know what I said. I'm not. There is a 15-year-old Latino who can do this job. Like,
Yeah.
my agent will be like, well, it doesn't matter. You know, you have a kind of ambiguous voice. I'm like, it's not that ambiguous.
Yeah.
And it's not a teenage millennial Hispanic kid, you know?
Right.
So,
Hey,
you know,
bro, I'm on Nickelodeon now, dude.
yeah, right. It's like, but like, I would like to, you know, I just got to find the right
It's really
role.
fun.
So-
I mean, it's
Pivoting back to the kids,
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah.
I do want to pop off.
yeah.
Did you either of you guys watch the documentary on Netflix, Abducted in Plain Sight?
Everyone's talking about it. I haven't
No,
seen
I
it
haven't
yet.
seen
Look,
it.
spoiler
No.
alert.
Yeah.
But also, I'm just going to tell you guys right now, not really spoilers, because this is not a good true crime documentary.
Right.
No.
This is not what you want out of it. Usually, true crime documentaries go in like one of two ways.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like they let it unfold and then it gets solved in the end, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh wow, crazy story. Or it's like this happened and it's still unsolved. Who maybe did this?
Yeah.
You know, this is
Yeah.
not that. This is not that.
Right,
Let me
right.
tell you my experience of watching this. I have insomnia. That's an important preface.
Yes.
I fall asleep. My girlfriend falls asleep at 10 p.m. I'm usually getting to bed like 3 a.m. minimum. Like I'm
Jeez.
up. So and it involves quietly watching things in bed often when I'm like, trying to
Right.
sleep.
Yeah.
So I'm watching this shit and it's like this is a night I kept waking her up because there were so many parts in this where I was like shooting out of bed uncontrollably, like pacing around the room.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what the fuck?
That's
Like,
what everyone says.
so, dude, all right. So this is the plot of this movie, right?
Yes.
So it's this family of four or five, whatever.
Yeah.
They're Mormons. It's in the 70s, and they befriend this family down the street with like kind of similar. They start spending tons of time together.
Yeah.
You find out more and more later in the doc that like the dad from the other family is like super interested in their daughter who's like 12 or something,
Yeah,
right?
that's not good.
Like way, and they start letting things slip. You're already realizing the family's dumb people.
Yeah.
They're like they're letting you know like we did let him spend the night in her bed. Like you're just like
Whoa,
what
wait
the
a minute.
fuck? Like so that's not
Wow.
even the bad stuff. So they're like
Whoa.
enabling all of this. He eventually kidnaps her. They're like he wants to take her on vacation or something.
Oh,
So he
no.
like literally kidnaps her, and she's gone for a long time.
Yeah.
The dude gets back. This is the most wild part. The dad's talking about
Oh,
hanging out.
yes.
Yeah, pause. Yeah.
Fuck.
The dad's talking about hanging out with the molester dad. And he already knows this guy's bad news.
Yeah.
They're hanging out, and the guy is like, they go park in this like park district area.
Yeah.
And the guy's like complaining that he has like a hard on, and he's like, I need to be relieved. It's really bad. Like, and he asks his like friend, like, will you jerk me off?
Yeah.
And the dad is like, I didn't know what to do, so I did it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like jerks him off in this park.
yeah.
So fucking.
the dad
guy
of
who's,
this,
like, molesting his
abducted-
kid.
Yeah.
And then
So
like it's
fucking hot.
literally the wildest part, because like
Such
they're
a hot moment.
they're setting it up
is,
like
you know?
like because this guy's already doing perverted stuff, right?
Right.
So like
Yeah.
when he drives him to the park and like shows him his boner, I thought that was gonna be the turning point of where he'd be like, that's when I realized this guy, something might be up with him.
No.
Yeah.
But no, it's like, what else could I have done? You know?
Right.
So then that's how I jumped up and screamed, right? Because like you're just like wanting
Yeah.
these parents to do something about this predator,
Yeah.
and then
But also wanting them to.
so he
fuck.
kidnaps the
odd.
daughter and everything, and then after that, the wife starts having sex with him.
Yeah, because he's the man.
Yeah.
Like literally, the whole
Wow.
family's hooking up with this dude,
Yeah.
and he keeps kidnapping her daughter. Then he wants her to. He like.
Wait a minute. What do you mean he keeps kidnapping the
No,
daughters?
yes. So he kidnaps her.
Hold on.
No,
hold on.
so he kidnaps her.
Yeah.
They finally get arrested in Mexico and caught, and then the guy, the predator,
Yeah.
uses that park hand job. I think I'm kind of might be remembering this wrong, but he kind of like blackmails the family. He's like, "Hey, you remember that hand job you gave me? Like, just drop the charge. Like, don't press charges against me. Say that I was on vacation with her," and they did. They like went along with it. And then
Wow.
so like he
Ugh.
stepped, then he came back and he's like made up this like whole lie. He's like, yeah, I went to a therapy to get help, and the therapist is great. Like part of what I need to do.
She said I'm fixed.
No, yeah. He's like, part
Yeah.
of my therapy is that I need to sleep in the same bed as your daughter. And they're like, well, a doctor said it. Okay, go on ahead.
This is after.
Damn.
This is
Post-kidnapping.
after everything.
Post-kidnapping.
Post-kidnapping.
Wow.
yes.
Part of my therapy. By the way, what doctor is that?
I know, right?
You know, like
Yeah.
that's a great doc. You know,
His
like,
name is Dr. Medical.
what
and
doc?
he's real.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, so
part of his therapy is sleeping next to your daughter.
he's cured of being a pedophile. Part of
Yeah.
the therapy is he has to molest kids.
Yeah, yeah. That's part of what he needs to do.
Yeah.
It is like a tragic doc, and it gets much worse, and it's pretty bad. They do like he wants the girl to come live in Wyoming with him when she's like 16 or something, and like
Right.
the parents are like, hell no, and then she like begs enough, and they're like, oh okay. The guy calls him, and he's like, look, she's gonna probably run away here anyway. They're like,
oh,
I guess
no.
you're right,
Yeah.
and they
Well,
like send her there
gee.
for the summer.
Yeah.
It's like
That's one of those family holidays, though, when they all get together. They're like, well, we know each other. You know what I mean? It's like we're,
Yeah.
we're acquainted. You know?
I mean,
a lot-
yeah, family friend.
Yeah.
it's worth. I really still didn't spoil the doc.
yeah. Who
'cause there's
made
a
the
lot
doc?
more.
Was it from a point
No,
of-
well,
yeah.
because it ends where like the family's doing good weirdly, and the daughter became like, a successful writer. She like writes about it and speaks about it, and like I still don't think that the whole family realizes the length of how absurd it is. You know,
So they're all still
Yeah.
cool.
they did all get
Nobody's in
manipulated by
jail.
the dude. Yeah,
She's a great writer.
Yeah.
What's the downside, Jack?
yeah. I mean,
You know what I
hey.
mean? I mean, she's a great writer. This guy's not in jail. Everyone's happy. I'm confused, you know?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
and
you could watch that doc if you want. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like I didn't spoil it. It's still there's still some meat on the bone for
Yeah.
sure. I left out a giant part that's pretty crazy.
It'll
but,
be a part of my favorite genre of documentary where people who've had horrible childhoods are more successful than I am. So
God.
that's a big genre of my Netflix.
That's like a
Or-
recommended tab.
Oh yeah, it's like
on
these
your-
people
on
have
your
been
homepage.
horribly tortured and have turned out better.
yeah.
You know?
Well, there's another thing too with like true crime, which I'm a crime I'm a
Yeah.
crime drama head.
Yeah.
I'm an SVU head. I'm literally have watched like every single good police procedural show, detective
Yeah.
show. I love it. And I love true crime stuff too, but there's a new like the podcast world has cracked into like this new like true crime section with like that show My Favorite Murder.
Oh, yeah,
and all
huge.
that stuff. Where it's like
white women love a murder.
That's true, but then like
Love,
okay, so they made a TV show version of Dirty John,
Right.
which Dirty John, if you're not familiar, is an amazing podcast, by the way. But it's about a mom who is manipulated by this insane con man who nearly murdered them. And I'm not going to spoil the podcast, but like luckily her daughters, who were pretty much adults, or like in their early 20s, I think, were like super looking out for her and stuck their neck out for her and like literally saved her from this dude, you know? Like they're the heroes in this. Because their mom was totally just getting conned by this guy and her kid saved her. But Bravo, it was like Bravo or one of those networks made it into a TV show and like Real Housewives it up. And like in the trailer, I watched like part of an episode, but like these girls are heroes.
Right.
And they're also violent crime survivors.
Right.
And victims.
Yeah.
And like the Bravo version, like they're taking creative liberties that just don't seem right.
Yeah.
Where it's like their characters in the show are like push up bra, fake boobs, and just like, Mom, you're such a cunt. You should have bought me an iPhone, you stupid bitch.
And where did this
like,
where did this happen?
This happened in Orange County in real life.
Yeah, okay.
But it's like this is like these people aren't old. Like the girls are probably 30s now, like 31 maybe. This is like
the show
recent.
starts. They're like Newport Beach is my city. It's
they're
whoa.
they're like taking creative liberties to like make these into.
They want to make them into like Emma Watson and Bling Ring.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and like it's just fucked because like, these are these aren't people who are on a podcast. They're victims of crime. Yeah, and it's like, and there's also the weird world of like these true crime heads because these podcasts have like crazy followings or whatever. Yeah. But their brains warp a little bit where they like an episode a lot, but then it translates into them like you see people where it's like, oh, I stan Dylan Roof, like, oh, I'm gonna marry Dylan Klebold. Like it's just like a weird like,
oh wow, so something like, happens where they
crime fandom or like
whoa
or like.
Dylan
it's
Roof's
just
not even
just
hot.
Like, no, I mean I'm
he's
just like
he's like malnourished.
I just think it's like the way people talk about like crime stories is a little jarring.
The way that, those girls that like believed in Slender Man and like killed some girl at their school. There's like some documentary about it, and like people send them fan art all the time. Yeah.
There's something weird to me about a whole, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It's just weird where an entire, because they do, My Favorite Murder Live, you have an entire theater of people getting together to have a good time based on a vicious murder.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
That's
like, it's an interesting.
Yeah. Like that's my thing with My Favorite Murder or whatever is like, dude, imagine your mom was killed by a serial killer. Yeah. And then you're like seeing clips pop up on your Twitter where it's like these two women on stage and they're like riffing on like the guy who killed your mom. Yeah. Be like, well, he's kind of sexy though, if you think about it. Like just
and
like
then they promote their dates.
Yeah, that guy
like, I'll be the Irvine Improv.
Yeah, it's like,
come on down.
It's a little
don't get
weird.
murdered.
I don't know their catchphrase is like, don't get murdered.
Yeah, don't get murdered.
Is
come
that
on down.
the catchphrase of
like
the pod?
Try not to get murdered.
Try not to get murdered on your way to buying 2 drinks to hear me. Please.
It's like one thing. Yeah, it's one thing if it's like a major news story where like Charles Manson is like so big that it's just at this point just a pop culture item. Sure. But it's different when it's like a local like a simple local murder where it's like just regular people who aren't. The press is over. Like they're no longer in articles about it. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's like podcast fans are like trying to add them on Facebook or something.
We did this thing
and like
a few weeks ago called the Smiley Face Killers, which is there's these weird cases of like athletic, good-looking, popular college-age white kids, and they all disappear from bars, and they all end up in rivers. So, and it is kind of weird. And I was at the Green Room of Comedy on State in Madison, and I was trying to retire from conspiracy theories, but the host of the show was like, "Hey, you got to talk to my friend." And this kid, I got on the phone with him. He's like, "Listen, the reality is, I went out to this bar. I had 2 drinks. This girl I'd never met. She was there. She had 5 of her friends there." He goes, "I black out. I don't remember what happens." And he goes, "I wake up and I'm on a dam in the middle of the Wisconsin River." Which
oh
is
my
like,
God.
So it's crazy. So he calls in and goes through the whole thing, and it's like a crazy episode. But Oxygen does a show on this, and it's ridiculous. Like it's absurd. Like the Oxygen show is like these detectives from New York City who like came up with the theory, but they're like, there's a part of the show where they go eat at this diner and the guy's like, yeah, it's a real greasy spoon. That's why they get the food good. It's like, hey, you get the fried eggs with bacon. And it's like, what the fuck about the murder here? Like everything doesn't have to be parts unknown.
Yeah.
That was what I thought was weird about Bourdain's
Yeah.
show. Like, he would go to Turkey and there's like, and the family would be like, we haven't really seen our daughter. It's like, it's been a few days. She's in the city. We're in the country. It's kind of political instability. And Bourdain would then start talking about hummus. And I'm like, what the fuck is like, that's the weirdness about taking anything and putting it in that reality TV format.
Yeah.
Of like, well, we just got to catch people's interest every minute. Ooh, they're going to a nice diner. Ooh, it's an old, not too many diners like that left. And it's like, aren't people getting thrown in a river?
Yeah.
Isn't that the concern?
Yeah, that's crazy.
But people
and the
that
smiley
makes-
face
yeah.
murders aren't even solved, right?
I mean, they're not solved, whether it is
And
a
the
thing
smiley
or it
face,
isn't. Who
basically,
knows?
if I'm correct,
the
smiley face thing is that they found
find
smiley face graffiti
near
near
they
which
find
is questionable because
Oh,
that's like the most common thing somebody would draw.
to me, it's
Yeah.
not even that. The smiley face graffiti does not do it for me. What's interesting to me is that all these people end up in a river in the middle of January. I grew up in a town in Long Island that was on sea level, and we were no one fell in the water, and it was not for lack of drinking or drug use. I'm not saying that all of these are suspicious, but a lot of them are weird. Where it's like,
No, I've done my
they
research
are
on
weird.
this. It's
They
pretty
get
crazy.
separated
Yeah.
from their friends. They end up in a river a few miles away. So I mean, I'm always careful when I go into that world because I always try to think logically and not just try to jump onto whatever. But it is weird. But of course, the Oxygen show does nothing but.
Yeah.
It's just sad to watch these parents reliving their kids' deaths with there's no arrests. Like there's no, so But
Well, so
if you like true crime,
let me open up another can of worms
Yeah.
too. Honestly, we could go off.
I have
Yeah.
given up dairy and my skin is better. Oh no, I'm sorry. Go on.
Oh yeah, I mean
didn't
this
know.
topic right
Yeah,
here, like
all
we could, Brandon could like walk out of the room and come back and find us 3 hours later.
Yeah.
Let
But,
y'all cook.
Yeah, I mean, something I've been fascinated with was that there was a giant spike in serial killings in the 60s and 70s, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually it just stopped, and now we're seeing another spike with like mass shootings.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we don't really hear about serial killers anymore.
Yeah.
And that's not like a genius point I'm making, but it's
Okay.
something worth thinking of. I always
Did
think
you
about it a
finish-
bit.
did
I think about it a
Yeah.
bit, you know?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of factors because the serial killer craze just kind of ended. And quite frankly, like
Yeah.
a lot of it is that we've gotten some new investigative techniques to profiling
Sure,
them.
it's much harder now.
Blah, blah, blah. Also, a lot of these people were copycats and like...
The two books that are really interesting on the subject you're talking about are both written by the same guy, and this guy has said a lot of questionable things I don't agree with.
Sure.
But like, I mean, not like kill the Jews, but he has said certain things. Like, I don't believe that 9/11's an inside job. I think there's layers of complexity to it, but like he has said some things I wouldn't go as far as to endorse. But there's a book called Weird Scenes Inside the Canyon,
Okay.
about Laurel Canyon and about a lot of the culture that was surrounding Laurel Canyon, which, as you remember, was kind of the precursor to the Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And you had a lot of bands like the Byrds and the Doors and Frank Zappa and all those guys came out of Laurel Canyon, and that's where the Manson murders took place.
Well, Manson was hanging at like Dennis Wilson's house,
Oh
maybe?
yeah, so
or-
there was a lot of this weird like overlap of like extreme drug use, cult activity, people that are kind of
I might
fucking
order that book
around
right now, yeah.
with Satanism. And then there was also the Rand Corporation and this big like U.S. A lot of intelligence stuff going on too. So McGowan's point is that it was good that the CIA was able to test drugs on all these hippies because it discredited a legitimate anti-war movement. And again, this is real conspiracy stuff, but it's fun. And so he said that a lot of the counterculture in the 60s was like, being fed, indirectly by people that had, they
An
basically,
agenda?
An agenda, and it benefited them to have the anti-war movement be, these people in fields on drugs naked instead of like rational people. Like, why the fuck are
Right.
we, And then his other book is called Program to Kill. Program to Kill's weird, where he thinks that a lot of serial killers were actually members of nefarious groups, cults, whatever, and then one person kind of takes the fall for an activity that many people were involved in, and he uses David Berkowitz's Son of Sam as an indication that he was part of like a cult of people that did really heinous things, horrible things, and that David Berkowitz took the fall for it. I haven't come to any conclusions on any of that, but it's very interesting. Like, if you read about a lot of conspiracy, because a lot of these guys, a lot of these serial killers, some of them have been in the military, some of them were discharged from the military. It's not impossible to think that some of them could have been in some type of program that whether it was mind control or something like that, it didn't necessarily turn out the right way. We know we have these programs. MK Ultra was a real thing. I mean, so I haven't come to any conclusion on that, but it's very interesting when you look at, why there aren't as many, why there were so many serial killers in that specific period of time.
What's funny is I was kind of setting that up to talk about something funny again, but now we're on that. So his theories
ruined that.
His theories sound pretty kooky. That might be interesting to read.
Here's the thing.
I don't know if I fall into that.
It's kooky, but what it opens up is this idea of the media and the information that you get, for the most part, from mainstream press sources is not necessarily the way to always think about these events. So if you dig deeper, some of these events are weird, and a lot of times it's just people minimizing, embarrassing connections that some of these people have had. But some of them especially the Manson, some of those, it's a very the overlap between violent cults and people that were musicians in that period of time in that area of California is pretty wild.
Yeah.
That is pretty wild.
I personally wouldn't make that correlation. I think it was, so I was setting this up to say that then when I was going back and watching the Ted Bundy doc that just came out, fucking hilarious, because you're hearing about the techniques that they're using to try to catch him. Bundy had already killed 9 people in the same town or whatever, and they're talking to the cops, and they're like, well, we figured our best plan of action was just kind of walk around and hopefully we'd see somebody committing a murder.
See what happens. Hopefully we'll catch it. Yeah.
No, and then they he got caught in Florida after escaping from jail, and they're holding him. They're like, who is this mystery man?
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Colorado FBI is looking for him. They just didn't have the technology, and you're just literally the dumbest guy could commit a murder back then and not get caught.
No, absolutely.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But it is I don't know. A lot of people have conspiracy theories about all that kind of stuff.
It's fun. It's fun. I don't have any conclusion on any of it because I don't know enough about it, and I haven't devoted enough time to it. But some of the theories are weird and interesting. Of did this person act alone? Did they always act alone? Were they always able to do this?
Yeah.
Was someone helping them? And for whatever reason, did that person not get caught? So it's that's always, to me, interesting.
Yeah, the technology wasn't there. People were off their phones, and they fucking, back in the day, they loved serial killing. Nowadays, they're on their phones.
They love
have a
Instagram.
short attention span. They just want everything to go viral, so they do mass shootings.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's these millennials.
Serial killers were dedicated, focused, hardworking people. Try to find one of them.
Yeah,
now.
millennials are killing the serial killing industry.
They really have.
Millennials are killing the serial killing.
Yeah, it's just fucking short attention span, mass shootings.
Yeah.
Damn. Pretty crazy.
God damn.
Well, I never even talked. My grandpa passed away this year, rest in peace, but he was an FBI agent. Oh. No, he's an FBI agent.
Never got caught.
Never got caught. There was always teeth around,
No, but and he was also Cook County State's attorney, and he was Cook County State's attorney while John Wayne Gacy was being investigated and prosecuted.
Yeah. Oh,
so
you found some you found
I mean, so I grew up with crazy Gacy. He was there when they excavated the bodies.
Yeah.
So
God.
He has this.
I'm a John Wayne truther.
Yeah.
And I think that he was just, misunderstood clown.
God.
Well, when it comes down to it, he was a great clown.
Well, it is crazy because he
good.
was super charming, and one of the things my grandpa used to tell me about was the prosecution process, because we could even talk about it in length, maybe on a Patreon or something one time, because he has crazy stories. But my grandpa got elected state's attorney by the Black Panthers had his support randomly. He was a weird situation. There was a lot of corruption in Chicago, and
Interesting.
But so he was kind of had a name for himself, and politically, and John Wayne Gacy was a member of his local Democratic Party, very local, right?
Yeah.
Very local,
of course.
And my grandpa was a Chicago Republican. State's attorney.
Right.
But when he would the first couple days in court, he literally wouldn't shut up and wouldn't stop talking to my grandpa about politics, trying to be Bernie, like trying to call him like in court. Be like, what do you think of this election coming up? Like, what do you got? Like, not even in a creepy way. Just like literally like having to, my grandpa would have to stop the prosecution and be like, Mr. Gacy, I'm prosecuting you for murder right now. I cannot talk to you about a local election.
This was during the murder prosecution.
Yeah, so he like wound up putting out one of the assistant attorneys on
being
there.
Like, this election cycle sure is crazy, huh?
This is wild. Are you seeing what's the smears, the ugliness?
But it is crazy because like he had, so I did a tweet. I posted, when my grandpa died, I posted like this picture. He has a pristine Gacy business card that he picked up when they were raiding his house. Because Gacy, they didn't know the scope of Gacy when they caught him. Like he finally got on like one charge. And so when they initially are going into his house, they think he's like some guy that did one crime. And so like they're just walking around and he sees the pile of business cards. And he's like, you know, John Gacy, president, like local, like Democratic Party. He's like, oh, I'm gonna pick this up. This is gonna be funny to like taunt my Democrat friends or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, that's
and
so funny.
Of course, then they start finding shit in the house and start excavating like one after the other. For over the course of like a week, and then it just evolves. But it's
how
pretty
many
fucking
bodies
insane.
did they take out?
How many was it? 20? Like
I
couldn't. I'm not good. I don't have a good memory.
Yeah, it's too
but
many. It's gratuitous.
It is crazy, and like a lot of those stories were like weird details that were like almost funny. It's very surreal.
I mean, it's sad. It is. That's why those murder podcasts really work, because a lot, like when you talk about this stuff, it's so dark that it lends itself to being funny. You got to be funny about it, and some of the details are absurd and funny.
Yeah.
So like you're kind of like
the funniest. A funny detail I'll cap that off on is that so that business card picture went kind of viral, which I didn't want. Like I posted it. My grandpa had literally just died. It was like the day of the funeral. I was kind of posting it foolishly, I guess, for people I know, just like, hey, my grandpa died. Like, this is kind of crazy fact.
Right.
But it went viral and it got into like definitely like the My Favorite Murder crowd, where people are leaving comments where it's like, dude, like, you're talking about a dead person here. Like, you got to chill. Like, this is not like My Favorite Murder podcast. Like a guy.
What are they saying?
I can't even remember. It was just like a little like out of pocket. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Where it's like, and then the funniest out of pocket thing where this was just like literally funny was like, I get a DM and a bunch of tweets from an account called like Chicago History Museum or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds
and they're like message me and they're like they want to ask about the card or whatever. And I'm like, awesome. Like, I'm super stoked. And I like messaged them because like my grandpa was like involved in a bunch of really cool things in history that he like didn't talk about when he was alive, just because like he was very professional.
Yeah.
But he would have loved to preserve the history. So I was like super down to help this like museum, like whatever it is. And I so I messaged them like, what could I do? Blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, they're like, hey, so my husband really likes John Wayne Gacy and it's his birthday coming up and I want to buy the business card. How is $40?
Oh,
like,
wow.
Oh, God.
You motherfucker.
What a
like,
nightmare.
I thought they were
my
like,
God.
and then I realized it's not even like a real museum. Like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you
like,
want to buy my girl? Like,
it's
the
like a
only
room
I'm
in
like,
their
I'm like,
house.
this is the only thing I inherited from him.
You're like,
Right.
but I will
And then
give you
they're-
a shout out on Cameo.
No,
if you want.
then they're like,
As
okay,
John
how
Wayne
about
Gacy, as a clown.
they're like, how about 60?
Oh my God.
Nightmare. God.
And it kept going. They were like
And
getting
that's
so
why we
mad.
need more serial
It was
killers.
just like-
get rid of these fucks.
Yeah, it was just so
God.
fucking insane.
Yeah.
And it was just like the excuse was like, oh, my husband likes
He
likes the
Gacy.
murderer.
He likes John Wayne
Go
Gacy.
fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
the type of people I'm
have
talking
very-
about.
I think it's just it's like you have a very boring life, and it's the idea is like, oh, I'm just gonna, I'm obsessed with this killer.
It's
Yeah.
the funniest thing ever to see like a tweet about like, hey, this is something very, very important to me. I want to share it with you guys because it's one of a kind and it means a lot to me. And so message them, be like, yo, how about I buy you that for two $20 bills?
Yeah, $40.
Can you imagine if I was like, done, bitch, let's go.
Let's go.
Send me that.
Cash
Absolutely.
Yeah, just 19 more dollars and I could buy the new Call of Duty game at GameStop.
Yeah. Sorry,
Fuck
John
yeah,
Wayne Gacy
bitch.
didn't sign it.
Yeah. Ooh.
Sorry, he didn't have his signature.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Anyway, we should probably wrap this up.
Yeah.
Or otherwise, we
So
don't.
could do this for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean,
I appreciate it. Thanks
plug
for having me.
plug away your podcast. I
Yeah,
don't
Tim
listen
Dillon's
to it
going to hell. We do a lot of fun stuff. We have comedians. We also do some, true crime, whatever bullshit stuff. Tim J Dillon Dillon is Twitter and Instagram. Instagram's got some fun food pics.
We love
Some
that. Oh
good
yeah,
restaurant
you went to
recommendations.
you fucking
We did a video
Jollibee
of Jollibee,
review.
which is on Twitter right now.
Yeah.
Check that out.
It's the best restaurant in LA because the chef is a raccoon because everything's like eggs and hot dogs and cheese and fish heads.
Excuse me, sir. That is a Filipino trope.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Brandon.
Swagapino staple.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
it's
yeah,
a great, it's a really good. Everyone that eats there is a serial killer. It's a great.
Yeah, because it's fried chicken and spaghetti.
Yeah, it's a fun video to
It's
do
out of
because
control.
we thought we're like, oh, because I do this dumb talk show where I set up a desk. We used to have a green screen. We still have a green screen that just has an old picture of the Twin Towers, but sometimes we take the desk out in like Runyon or whatever. We'll just we'll rent a van, take the desk out, and we're like, oh, we have to do this video really quick because we're outside Jollibee. So like 5 minutes, they're gonna tell us to leave. Like, we could have done it for 6 hours.
Oh,
yeah.
We
Jollibee
literally could
is
have.
international waters.
Yeah, we could have shot a movie, a person.
You could have shot a person.
No one cared.
Yeah.
But it's fun. So all that stuff's on
But
Twitter.
I kind of look like the Jollibee mascot. The Jollibee.
Yeah, a little
they
bit.
have
Kinda
outside,
do.
the, like,
Yeah,
Well,
you
you're
sort of do.
really-
You have
you're
the
really-
vibe.
You have that. It's just
Yeah.
you're just kissed by Filipino.
yes, yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
a kiss of
It's a
Filipino.
touch. It's a
Yeah, it really is a touch.
Yeah,
It's
that's so funny.
yeah.
Well, I mean, it's in the Rampart area, I think. So
There's
like,
a bunch.
yeah.
There's
they
like
just
a few.
assume you're like a really well-behaved homeless person.
Yeah, it's-
but yeah,
it's
because
a
it's
few.
when Beverly turns into right before Beverly turns.
Honestly,
into
this
Silver
could
Lake.
easily, if we had the time, this could be a back-to-back pod because I have
know.
so many things.
It's
I have
I'm-
things I want
yeah.
to talk about in this
I'll
pod.
come back to LA. I
I
come out
could
a
have
lot,
talked about
you know?
pedophile face. That's a
Yeah.
whole thing I
Yeah.
need to talk about.
That's
It's just
great.
people who have pedophile face.
Jollibee face. All those
Jollibee
things.
face.
Yeah.
I've been up late at night just reading my next door app about like
yeah.
I've seen a lot of patterns.
Oh yeah,
of, like,
Jack's wired right
I
now.
I tap into the
Yeah.
neighborhood
You're
crimes.
in.
Yeah.
You're solid.
Yeah.
You're in.
I'm tapped in. I could keep going. If you need somebody to come in and talk about crimes.
Yeah.
uh,
No, 100%.
Chicago, March 10th at the Hideout.
Oh yeah, our boy's gonna be
There
there.
you go.
Come through.
And I don't think I have any plugs.
Ticks
Sign up for our
in the-
Patreon.
Ticks in the
Oh,
link
definitely
in the
sign up for the
bio.
Patreon because that horny episode we just dropped was one of my favorites. Honestly,
It was.
I was dreading
fun,
doing the
yeah.
horny episode, but
The 10K horny pod was solid.
what's great about it is that we didn't say anything negative on that pod. It was only positivity.
It was true
I left
positivity hour.
feeling
yeah.
wired.
Yeah.
and
It was-
I let him be. I let him be.
What'd you do? Just got
Well,
horny?
he's been banned from being horny on the podcast for almost a year.
Wow.
And that ban just got lifted. So I was like, you could be as horny as you want.
So he was
And
really.
we went off. But
Wow.
it is
Yeah.
a great episode because it's a lot of Brandon just telling stories about how many life decisions have been based on like Brandon going to tricking his whole family to take him on like a trip to Six Flags or something because
Yeah.
he thinks he's going to be able to see a bra there or
Oh,
something
wow.
like that. Like,
Not that specific.
no, I mean,
but
it technically it was a
you know,
Rams game.
Yeah.
Just like a lot of like, like red strings on Brandon's childhood wall connecting,
Yeah.
and then at the end is a
Yeah.
brassiere
Oh,
that he
that's
wants
crazy.
to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
horny for.
Horny.
But wonderful episode.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right,
thanks
well,
for doing the pod.
thanks for
Thanks,
doing us
guys.
on.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey guys, Jack here. So after we recorded this episode, me and Brandon got some really shocking and upsetting news. One of our friends, friend of the show, Pipus the Wise, aka Matt Larson, passed away this week. He was a comedian, director, honestly just like an all-around creative force. He was also a guest on our live podcast in Philadelphia along with his creative partner Kendra. And so we're both super upset about this. It's always sad to see somebody die young, but in the case of Pipus, I mean, this guy was like a creative powerhouse. Everything he was doing, I was a huge fan of. I always thought that, he was like 1 week away from having both a hit TV show and also being like walking in Balenciaga New York Fashion Week show because he's also just a beautiful long-haired bro. But yeah, I'm just very, very upset to see his life cut short. So me and Brandon wanted to play a clip from when him and Kendra joined us in Philadelphia. Brandon didn't know who these guys were. I knew them from before. I also knew that they might come to the show, and I wanted to pull them up on stage because Pipus and Kendra actually were the guys behind that infamous Matt Ox music video, the little kid rapper. So I was excited to pick their brain about that. I think I knew they had even discovered him. They were very involved, but Brandon didn't even know this. So I just during a lull of the show, I just called them up, and Pipus was super down. Pipus and Kendra came up, and what proceeded was a very hilarious on-stage interaction, on-stage meeting of them and Brandon. And Brandon actually ended up going out in the town with them till literally 5 a.m. I think they even played charades at somebody's house. I had an early flight I had to catch with Brandon. Met them on stage, and then they took him all over Philadelphia. So I'm very, very sad to see him go, but I wanted to just play this clip and kind of say rest in peace, Pipus the Wise, on behalf of Yeah But Still. If you guys want to check out any of Pipus and Kendra's work, you can go to publiccinemaclub.com. Pipus also has tons of his clips up on his Instagram. It's at Pipus the Wise. And then Kendra, who's also in this clip, his Instagram is Kendra_uncut. All right. Rest in peace, Pipus. Here's that clip from the time he was on our Philadelphia show.
What's up? I'm Pipus.
Yo, I'm Kendra. We made that Maldex video, I guess.
Wait, how did that come to be? Oh, we got a mic for you guys.
Oh, sick.
This is Brandon,
Yeah.
by the way. You guys haven't met each
what's
other.
up? This is. Wait, by the way, that was insane. That was insane.
Yeah.
What's up, man? Hey, what's up? Honestly, this is okay. The way you brought up these guests, which I barely knew was gonna happen. This is all.
Why the fuck I bring up my
I'm
boys,
sorry.
dude? Fuck it, dude.
You just brought up your boys.
I'm sorry. We were
Mid-conversation.
We were expecting to be a lot younger, but we're a little bit
Um,
older than you thought.
No,
We're
but
a
I
little
don't
older
understand.
than 12.
So
Look, we're giving them
a lot of
interesting
these
material.
Okay, a lot of these people don't know who Matt Ox is.
Look, these
So-
guys found a boy, okay, in the streets of this town. They're like, this little boy's got some talent. Right? Is that how it went?
Yeah. Well,
Basically, I was at this club, and my boy was like, "Yo, you gotta see this new 12-year-old."
Was the
I'm
club called
fucking with-
Combat Ping Pong?
you gotta
no,
see
it
this
was not
12-year-old.
that club. It's not like the pizza game.
Okay.
But
And he used to date Matt's mom.
so
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So you
in high school.
dated the boy's mom in high school.
yeah, so pretty much he was chilling with this group of producers working on Dying in the club, and they were like, "Yo, we have this super hot 12-year-old
You guys, wait.
I would
pause.
change
We've
the
done-
way you tell
yeah,
that story.
okay. We've
He's
done a
so
lot.
hot.
I
we've
would
done a
maybe
lot of-
not tell that story the way you just told that story.
We've done a lot of child molestation material, starting with the clip from the show, the sexy kid. We've done the Pizzagate.
Oh, we haven't
Let's
even
do-
showed the clip.
Oh, we haven't?
No.
Okay, we'll do that
You're
after.
drunk.
Okay, you guys, I told you we're off that loud beer, okay?
After this, let's show them the
I've
clip.
drank fucking 3 beers, guys. It's, woo! It's a mess.
It's the first
Enjoy
time
later.
I'm high.
Anyway, okay, wait. All right, so keep it going. So you heard about this hot kid.
Yeah, and he only had Twitter videos where he's rapping into his phone,
Yeah.
and we're like, "Yo, this kid's fucking popping. We gotta work with him."
Yeah.
And
Yeah, so then we were we were gonna do. Well, we did 2 videos. That was the second video we did for him.
Oh, really?
What was
But,
the video called?
Overwhelming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you guys familiar with Matt Ox's Overwhelming?
It's a little kid that released this rap video that got extremely huge. He was had
The
fidget
Philly
spinners
local.
in his video, but it somehow worked. I don't really know. He was like,
Yeah, well, so the day before the shoot, Kendra was FaceTiming with him, and he was like, "Yo, my boy's gonna bring a real piece, a real John."
Like a real gun.
And we were
It's
like-
like a real
you brought
gun
a
to
gun
the shoot.
to the
No. So we were like, wait, don't bring a gun.
Wait, Matt Ox said that?
yeah. And I'm
This is a 12-year-old kid, by the way.
So we were like, no, please, like, don't bring a gun.
Like, I'll never have a 12-year-old point a gun at me,
Yeah, it's
like on
it's like-
camera.
I mean,
Oh my
like,
God.
I would do it if I needed to, but it's like we like didn't need it at all. So we're like,
We're like, let's roll with fidget spinners.
There weren't
instead.
guns in the video. I'm pretty
yeah,
sure.
no, yeah. So exactly. So we were like, no, like I don't think, like we don't think we should have a gun in this. And he was like, well, like I'm not trying to be on like no little kid shit. And we were like, yo, we completely respect that. Like we don't want you. on any
He is a little
shit.
kid.
Yeah.
But he's a cool ass.
But
kid.
he's a cool ass kid.
So
And we
then-
like made the video in like 2 hours and
Yeah.
edited it that night,
It
and
was-
then flew to Mexico like the next morning to like shoot a
escape
show
the charges?
for Super Deluxe.
yeah, this game's charges.
And then like it went viral while we were in Mexico, and we couldn't even upload it to our own page, which
But-
is fucked.
But yeah, and then like so like there's just this like kid and he had like a couple fidget spinners and they're like pretty tight. And we were like, yo, man, like, could we get that in the video? He was like, yeah, I got like 10 more back in my house. So he just went and grabbed them, and it just like happened like super organically like that. It was tight.
Wait, so your friend dated his mom?
Yeah.
What the fuck is
Like
this
when he
mom?
was like 13.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah. Like
I was gonna
So-
say,
so-
I mean,
so-
like
so,
your
like, when
boy's
he was
ex-girlfriend
math
is like, does she know her kid has a gun?
No.
His friend had a
didn't
gun.
have it. Like he was just like he was showing us like how cool he was that he had homies with guns. But we were like we get it. We know that you're that cool, but you don't need to do that like outright. You know.
Jesus Christ, this is a lot different than I thought it would be. Brandon's a little
Yeah, I mean, I barely knew this was gonna happen. I'm like a little.
I've never met these
bewildered.
guys in person, by the way. We've talked to each other.
Yeah.
I was like, I saw you guys, and I was like, I'm curious, personally. Nice to meet you guys.
Yes, thank you. Nice
Well,
to meet you
anyway,
guys. Give it up for them.
Yeah, give it up.
Hey.